he himself said, like, it wasn't about the wins and losses, it was about the journey. It was about the team. It was about enjoying football. Well, that allowed him to stick around so that he's around now for the rewards. He's around now for the good part. He was able to last long enough that he can enjoy the triumph because he wasn't distracted by the tragedy. Welcome back to the Therapist React series. If this is your first time here, this is where we cover what's going on in the news and in pop culture to try to highlight the psychological lessons that we can all learn so that we can have better mental health. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is the National Football League, which is the professional football league here in America dedicated to American football. They're in their playoffs. They are in the tournament that leads towards the championship. And for me personally, there's something really exciting happen. But there's also something happening that I think could teach us all a massive lesson about hope. Now, there's one team that, and by the way, both of these things, the exciting thing related to me, and also the thing that could teach us a massive lesson about hope, they're all with one team. And that is my favorite team, the Detroit Lions, which for the first time in a very long time, they're very good. They just won their first playoff game in 31 years and have spent many, many years as one of the worst teams in this league. And now they're one of the best. Now, people always ask me, are you from Detroit? No. Then how did you become a Lions fan? So I want to tell you that story really quickly. When I was young, I grew up playing American football and baseball and basketball, played lots of sports, American football being one of them. And I remember when I was playing sports, I was running with the football and I was good at making people miss and dodging and doing moves. And this guy watching me play said, "You run like Barry Sanders." Now, I had no idea who Barry Sanders was. At the time, he wasn't a professional football player. He had just finished an amazing career at Oklahoma State University. The guy who made the comment to me went to a college that played Oklahoma State University, so he knew who this Barry Sanders person was. Now, back then, there was no YouTube, there was no online videos, there was no way of me to know who this person was unless I lived in the region where his games were televised, and that's what this guy was from, that region. So he says you run like Barry Sanders. That had no context or reference to me, so it didn't really mean anything or jump out to me. And then Barry Sanders was drafted to the Detroit Lions, and at the time, I'm probably 11, 12 years old. He got drafted to the Detroit Lions, and their first preseason game happened. And I remember watching the game, and I had never seen anybody run like that. Like, he was so good at making people miss and dodging tacklers and running away from defenders. I mean, he was just so amazing at doing these things. It blew me away. In fact, during his first preseason game, he played the Minnesota Vikings. He was so good at making people miss that during halftime of that first preseason game, the Minnesota Vikings confiscated his jersey, or had the referees confiscate his jersey, because they accused him of putting Vaseline on his jersey, making it more difficult for him to be tackled. I was just so blown away by him. He became my favorite player, and as a consequence, they became my favorite team. And it has been a miserable existence. The Detroit Lions became the first team ever to lose every single game in a season. They went 0-16. It's just been terrible. Barry Sanders retired very early because he couldn't handle all of the losing. They had another player that was world class named Calvin Johnson. He retired very, very early for the same reason. It's just been really, really hard. And now they're very good. And I've hoped and wished and dreamt about these moments forever. But not nearly as long as a man named Ben Cap, who's been a Lions fan his whole life and is in his 80s. And he's been a season ticket holder for 66 years. And I love the lesson here because this entire time, he has bought a season ticket, to watch the Detroit Lions, and he sat in the stands, and he literally was there the last time the Detroit Lions won a championship. And to give you a context of how long ago that was, the NFL didn't exist. It was a championship pre the National Football League in the way we know it now. And they showed him on camera when the Lions won the other day. And he's so happy and so excited. Somebody asked him what it was like. Somebody asked him how he did it. And he said, because it wasn't about winning and losing, it was about enjoying football.
The people in this city want a team that they can cheer for, and then they will continue to cheer, which they've done even through the very lean years, bags over their heads and so forth, but they kept coming. It's just kind of a inner love. I don't know that every city has that, but this city does.
And I've thought about that for a really long time, and I've hoped for the Lions to win for a really long time. But to me, it's really been about enjoying being a Lions fan this whole time. And I think about that in relation to life. I think sometimes we depend upon, like, we hope for a new job or a better salary or a nicer car or whatever it is. And we make our enjoyment of life conditional upon the completion of that hope, wish, or dream. But the lesson here is it's not about the end result. It's about the journey. Like, you've heard that 1,000 times. Like, it's not about the end result. It's about the journey. It wasn't about whether or not the Detroit Lions won or lost. It was about Ben Cap enjoying being a Detroit Lions fan and participating as a fan in the way that he did. I think in order for us to have really strong mental health, the lesson here is it's not about that new job, that new car, your better salary. It's about you enjoying the journey of life, you being a participant in the journey of life. You are not so conditional upon the end result that it impacts how much you enjoy the journey. That's the lesson here. That's what I want everyone to get from this. I think it also gives us the ability to play the longer game. Because when you're just enjoying the journey, then you also get to enjoy when things start turning in your favor. One of my favorite poems is a poem called Don't Quit. And there's a phrase in that poem that's about oftentimes people quit just before they achieve their aim. And I think what we do is we get distracted by how badly we want the outcome. We're not enjoying the journey, but once you enjoy the journey, it gives you the ability to stick through all the way to the end. And I can't imagine what it must be like to have been a season ticket holder for 66 years. And for the last 54 of them or so, the team failed. And in most cases, failed miserably. But he himself said, it wasn't about the wins and losses, it was about the journey. It was about the team. It was about enjoying football. Well, that allowed him to stick around so that he's around now for the rewards. He's around now for the good part. He was able to last long enough that he can enjoy the triumph because he wasn't distracted by the tragedy. I think that's the lesson here. And I want all of you to enjoy your life and enjoy the journey that you're on, and don't be distracted by whether or not you're achieving your aim. So thank you so much for watching. If you're a Lions fan like me, leave a comment to support the Lions as they go on in the playoffs. They won their first playoff game. If they win 2 more, they're in the Super Bowl. So that would be unbelievable. So leave a comment below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you really like this video, please subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button and hitting the bell so you get notified each and every time we release a video on this channel and on this series. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I love y'all, and I love the Lions, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video.